Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. Today we'll be creating this fun gender reveal cake decorated with a Russian piping tip style tree. I have an 8-inch and a 6-inch cake that I'll be working with today, and because this cake is so big, it is store-bought from Lombard, I am going to be dividing it into 4 pieces. I'll make one incision through the middle and then an incision through each of the 2 sides. Do the same for the 6-inch cake, and then create a hole through each of those cake layers. I've used a cookie cutter and just pressed it right through the middle, overlap the layers on top of each other, and then run the cookie cutter through one layer that's already been cut, and that way it creates a mark on the cake of where you should be cutting to make sure that it's always in line with the previous layer. Take a cake board the same size as your cake and build on top of that. You can use buttercream for this particular project, and I'm just stacking each layer of cake on top of the other. Don't press it down straight away. You can position it on top and then move it around, bring yourself eye level with the cake to make sure that it's not lopsided, and then you can press it down to secure it on before applying the next layer of cake, etc. I've always gone in with the spatula just to make sure that the inside is nice and flush, so you have a bit of a crumb coat on the inside. And then you can fill in with whichever candy you like. So I've taken some candy coated chocolate in blue to reveal the, male gender. And no, I am not Preggy Pants. This is just a tutorial to show how to make a gender reveal cake. Take your cut off layer of cake, just that off cut from the cookie cutter, and place it over the top. Make sure that you've only filled it 3/4 of the way, and so you can still fit that off cut back into the cake. From here, create a crumb coat. So this will just be a thin layer of frosting all around the cake to trap in your crumbs. Smooth it out with your frosting scraper. Bring the lip of frosting towards the middle of the cake, and then refrigerate for 20 minutes. In the meantime, you can work on your bottom tier if you're making a tiered cake. So I'll go ahead and grab that 8-inch again, and we'll assemble it just like before, only this time we're not cutting out the center piece, we're going to leave this hole. I don't recommend making a bottom tier the revealing cake with a hole in the middle, just because it's not going to be very stable. Back into the fridge it goes once it's been crumb coated, and then you can apply that final layer of frosting. You can choose to go with a different color, so adding gel food colors into your buttercream works well. I've just stuck with the regular white color. Also apply a final coat on your 8-inch. Bring that lip of frosting to the middle, refrigerate your 8-inch, but freeze your top tier, so the 6-inch. You want to freeze it for about 20 minutes or so. For the bottom tier, I'm adding 3 to 4 bubble tea straws cut flush with the very top of the cake, and then leaving it in the fridge just to set up in the meantime. This is fondant by Bakehouse, and I've added in some brown gel food color. It was yellow before, so I figured the brown would show through pretty easily on my leftover yellow fondant. I'm going to roll it into logs, having one section skinnier than the other, and that way it just looks a bit more realistic of a tree trunk. Now that a cake is out of the freezer after 20 minutes, you can handle it with your hands without messing the frosting. I'm going to stick it to the cake with that buttercream, make sure it's centered, and then press it down firmly to secure it on there. From here, you can apply now your little fondant pieces with just a little bit of water to help it to stick. I laid one right in the middle of where I wanted it, and then a few other logs on either side, and then overlapping to make it look a little bit more 3D. If you wanted to, you could take a toothpick and create little lines and textures in the wood. I just left it as is. And for the buttercream decoration, I've taken 2 piping tips, the Russian piping tips, and my buttercream. This buttercream is by Over the Top, so this one here isn't particularly made from scratch. It is a lot firmer and a lot thicker than the homemade variety that I make, and so this was perfect for piping the flowers from the Russian piping tips. If you do want to use your own buttercream at home, I recommend adding extra icing sugar just to make it nice and firm. It might be a bit more of a squeeze to push it out of the bag, but at least you'll be sure that the shape will keep and you'll have these really perfectly shaped Russian piping tip flowers. I'm creating a large cluster starting from the very top of our wooden trunks and just placing each color around randomly so you don't have the blue in one section and the pink in another. It's all kind of jumbled. Bring it all the way up to the top and then refrigerate it to help to set. In the meantime, you can take a piping bag and cut an inward pointing triangle to create that leaf tip. Otherwise, you could also use a number 352 tip to create the leaves instead. I filled the bag with green buttercream and I'm just angling into the little spots where you can still see through to the cake. So basically take that opportunity to hide any mishaps or any shapes or spaces in between. As a finishing touch, I'm adding sprinkles at the base, so I have my cake in a cookie sheet to catch all my sprinkles. I'm popping my spatula underneath and then pressing it up into the bottom of the cake. If you have a cake topper, you can finish with that. And that's it! Your gender reveal style cake is complete with the pretty Russian piping tip flowers. This is really, really easy and would work wonders as a one tier as well, maybe an extra tall cake. If you do recreate it, I would love to see how yours turns out. Hashtag Rosie's Dessert Spot so I can check it out. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more, and if you'd like to see the cake cutting, stay tuned to the very end. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.